Now, in the last example, we create the checkbox and then radio buttons. But in the radio buttons, we remember we need to add all the radio buttons from the same group in the button group. We create the object of the button group class, and then we add all our radio buttons to that particular group. If we require the second group, right, we create the another group in our last example. Right, what we are doing, we are creating the two radio buttons, right, for the C and C++, and we create the one radio buttons group BG1, and we add this to that one. Okay, now we can create the another, suppose like a branch. So JRadioButtons B3 equal to new JRadioButtons, and suppose branch IT and JRadioButtons. Over here we set the flow layout, so we do not need to set the left and right. It is flow layout, one by one it is added automatically. So we are not focused on our GUI right now, we are just focused on the performance of the buttons. Now we create another group for the buttons, button group, right, BG2 equal to new button groups. Now we need to add all the buttons to this group B3 and BG2 dot add B4. Right, now we add we add the button to the groups, that means it is not visible in the frame, so we add the button to the frame, it is required. Right, the button group is just provided the structure, one framing to the particular group of the buttons B3, this dot add B4. Okay, now we execute and check it is working or not. Okay, we select the IT, see IT is unselected, C++ C is selected, see this one, hit this one. That means we set the number of groups of the radio buttons, right, on a single form using the button group method. Clear? If we need to respond the response to selection of radio button or yes or no like that, then what we do? Similar, we implement the item listener. But if suppose over here we can bound this method to the checkbox, then we use the same one? No, we need to change, right? We need to change it for that one. And suppose for that purpose, in this example, we take the another class, right? It is not required to always the action listener is implemented in the same. Over here, we take the new class and we need to radio listener or item listener, my demo item listener. Okay. For the separation of code, simplicity. So one class use the only just GUI handling, and second one use the only just this one spelling. I can just correct the spelling, but instead of directly correction over here, we use a refactoring methods, rename. So it is automatically correction the file name and the class name. Demo. Over here, implements item listener. Again, warning: implement the abstract method. Implement all abstract method. The item state changer is there. Okay. Now we define this for the radio button. Suppose radio button 1 and 2 for our C and C++. Right. So what is the target? We know that it is a radio button. Radio button equal to e dot get source get item. No problem. We know that it is a radio button, JRadioButton, casting the generalized object new buttons. Now we need to just J option pan for the information, right? Show message object is what, suppose it is this current object, or we can also set the null if we do not have any parents objects right now, or we can pass to the particular constructor. We define our constructor and we pass this object or main window object over here, save it, and then pass this object over here. Otherwise it is not required. Right now it is not required for us. Now important we are message is what, right? Suppose RB is my radio button, right? Dot get text. I don't know which radio button is selected. Okay, so this is what implementation of listener, but still binding is required. So I can bind with this one radio button B1, right? So over here I can just bind the B1 dot add item listener. But the right now the item listener is not over here. It is a part of the demo item listener. The demo item listener. Or first we create the object, saving the variable, and then pass the variable, or directly give this one. Now see, but C1 will not respond because we can not bounding over there. It is this one is called try because it is unselected for that, right? So we can change over here. This one is pop up if e dot get state change equal to 1, then we pop up, otherwise not. Okay, and we also need to bind with for the button 2 dot add item listener. Now we cannot create the new object, we need to set the same object, right? Demo listener equal to right? That means we pass the means one function, one object is respond to the particular to text box. We know that because it is not independent, it is a depend on each other or related with each other, right? C, C++, right? If we select this one, it is not responded. Clear? We can another call it, right? Now the question is, okay, suppose we need to now define again B3 and B4, then what's? Again, we need to define the implement the item listener separately for that purpose, right? Then we need to create the third. It is very complex. Then what we do? This is also one another method is which is known as an anonymous class. Right? So how we can do it? So suppose this is my button 3 dot add item listener, right over here. So how we can do it? So we can implement a new. We can take otherwise it becomes very complex. We take it separately. This example. First we complete our normal structures and then we go for the another complex, but it is possible. We can just implement item listener and to the radio buttons. Anonymous is a very complex structures, right? Because it is a defined one times for the one listener. Right now we are work with the similar structure and the simple structure. Okay, so these are the different example of the radio buttons. Combo box. Right, the combo box is, we know it is a drop down, right? We can just select the one item from the multiple item. Now the question is similar. If we have the two options, radio button and combo box, right? From the radio button, it is possible to select the only one items, and from the combo box, it is also possible to select the one item from the multiple item. Then which one is better? So difference is that the ready, if suppose we have the 4 to 5 or limited radio button, then the radio button option is a good. But suppose we can select the product items from the database, right? Number of students, right? Then it is what? It is maybe the hundred of thousands of the data from the database. Then it is feasible to display in our simple ready buttons, right? It's required the more space on our windows, right? So in that case, the combo box is a good. It is possible to give the any number of the option, but the space is required only for the one item, right? So this is the main difference between the radio buttons and combo box. Otherwise the facility is both same, right? We give the multiple option and select the any one, right? So basic logic is the same for both one, but the due to the complexity of the visibility, right, and availability of the space on the window, right, we use a combo box. If we have the limited number of option, right, or small number of option, then ready button is much better or much better comfort to our normal users instead of the combo box. Now the some methods: add item. If we need to add anything new in the list of the combo box, remove item from that particular, right, remove all item means clean the drop box, right, combo box, clean with the zero items, right. Set editable or not means if it is a true, then we can type the anything. Suppose we can select the items from the drag and drop, or otherwise we can type in the text box. That means it is a combination of text box and combo box. Add action listeners, right, like our action performance method is there, but like a button. Add item listener when we select on particular items, item listener is there. Okay, now what we are doing over here: create the frame, create the array, right, whatever we suppose we take this data from the database using the database connection. So we get the number of values from the over there, or we can also take the scan the value from the user, it is also possible, right? Or we can just add the pop-up. If you need to add items, okay, we can just pop up and add that particular item to the combo box. Country, we create the one combo box from that particular array. Okay, now set bonds for that particular combo box to visible in the window. Add item listener, right? Okay, item listener, that means whenever we select any item, we need to perform the item state change event, right? And add that combo box to the frame. Get state change yes equal to 1, right, then we just display that particular item. Okay, we can check it how it is working. So, okay, create the new example for the combo box. Demo combo box. Similar. Okay, now this time we take the example of the extension of the applets instead of the frame, right? Extends JApplet. Fine. Okay. In that case, we do not require the any main method directly execute and it is visible. Fine. Okay. Now, how we can add the component? So we have the four methods. Which one? Public, void, and init. Right? This is the one, and another. Right? This method is executed only for the first time. Right? Second method, start method, executed every time when our window is active. Stop method, executed every time when our window is inactive or passive. And destroy when we close our window. Right? It is not necessary to implement or override this method, right? Already this method are implemented in the JApplets, but we need to override. All are the blanks. We need to override this method to customize our panel. It is a blank panel, applet panel. So we need to override the visualization, right? So what is the concept? We need to create the object of the suppose combo box. We need to set that combo box in the GUI window, right? And then we can perform the when we click, then we need to do the something actions. Okay. When column start method is called, automatically in the background it is called the paint method to display the GUI component. Over here outside the function I can take the right now I can just delete these two methods right now. That means all methods are not compulsory. As we required, we can implement. We need to first combo box. The combo box, right? E for the which kind of the values. So suppose string. Instead of string, suppose I like to combo box for the another checkbox. Then it is also possible. We can do it. Right? The combo box CB. Right? Means what? We just define the variable of combo box. Still, we do not create a combo box object. When we create the why define outside of this function, so it is easily available in the init method, in the start method, in the stop and destroy method. So we declare the variable which is accessible in the multiple methods, right, outside the any functions. Now the init is executed first time when we create the display, first time applet is display, right? So we prepare our object equal to new JComboBox. That means this is executed only for the one time, right? We do not need for the all the times. We also take the one string array, for example, array. Start of expressions. Something mistakes. Okay, curly brass. This is the object string object array. This is not inbuilt array. Okay. Now I can pass that object to this one. Now that means what? Combo box is ready, but still it is not visible. When we need to visible, when we are going to display the methods, right? We are going in the both way. Suppose this is my applet current, right? So current object, current applet dot add and add the my combo box, right? Similar over here, it is part of the frame, but we can define over here. Both have the similar facilities, right? Okay, we need to forget to define the bonds, set bonds. Suppose at the top position 10 10, width suppose 50 or height 30. Visible, but the size width is not set. This dot set layout to new flow layout. The default size. Good. Right? Fine. Now we what? Oh, sorry, I close it. I'm not need to close it. I just minimize it. Okay. Still it is executed. Now I can just maximize it. Okay, and I forget to type. The last lecture we are doing this thing. This is the init method. This is start method. This is a life cycle of applets. It is also theoretically I asked the question in the exam. Explain the life cycle of the applets and destroy. Change the inside. Okay. Now it is a init and start method is executed over here, visible, right? Now I just minimize it. Stop is executed, right? Again it is active, start, right? Stop, start, clear, destroy. Okay, fine. So according to that we can perform this thing. This is just for the information. I just put the comment, so whenever you execute this code, right, you can understand why we define over here, for understanding the life cycle. Okay, this is what we can just the setting things, whatever we need to basic. Okay, now it is possible to we can define in the start method. So yes, If we are doing this thing to preparing this object, this one, this one, this one, then it is executed for the every time. That means it is a degrade our performance. We do not need to do this thing, right? But we can just this post statement, right? And what happened here? Is working, right? Fine. So this is a good option. Key, what we are doing, we just prepare the object one times, right? Layout of the is one time, but whenever we need to display, right? Suppose we are going for the some kind of a visible, invisible, right? It is good in the would be in the start methods. Though it is also possible over here. Now our target is what? When we select the item, we do the some processing, right? And for that purpose, we are doing the item listener. It is possible over here. Yes, possible. Implements item listener, same like our previous example, right? Again warning, like for the desktop application we use JApplet, then nothing now. But we do not use the main method, we use the applet viewer to execute, and NetBeans is executed for us. Okay, now what we need, doing the same things, right? Or we directly take the object of the radio buttons or drop down and then select the items, right? This is a possibility. Dot show option, so message dialog box, the current window, it dot is my item, but we can select the directly item, right? So over here it is working, not working. Why? We are forgetting to bind, right? We are implement the function, but we not bind with our combo box. We need to bind combo box dot add item listener, this one, right? Okay, now it's fine, now it's executed. Okay, now we select the C++. It is called when both are changed. So we need to only just one. So we add the one item again. Statements is only visible for the selected item, not for the unselected, because we are, it is C++ is selected and we are going for the Java. That means first C++ is unselected, in Java is selected. So we check it. It is a get state change is equal to 1, 0. It's converted from 0 to 1, then this executed. It is not for the 1 to 0. Fine. C++ only, PHP only. Done. Okay. Go for the next. Right. Combo box. List box is a similar kind of the operation, but difference is that we can, it is possible to select the multiple item. Right. Add action listeners, get the selected index. Index is what? It is a, suppose C++, so it is index is 0, first item, right? Then Java to 1, PHP to 2. We can also take the index, and using the index we can find out the items. It is also possible, right? What is the, what you are doing? First item listener, right? List selection listener. Okay, first we create the frame. Fine. Default list model, right? So default list model is what? Our list box is derived from this list model. So it is a generalized class, right, to provide the basic functionality, and we can then use the list box, this default list box model, for the radio button list box, checkbox list box, right? So it is a generalized method, and over here we can use only just simply list box. This is what list box. In the first one we can observe, right? It is what? It is a single item selection. This is a multiple item selection. So here your default list box, right now it is a blank list box, right? We can use the array of string to pass this list box, or we can just add items later on, 1 2 3 4, right? Then JList box, right? We pass this list default list model to this one list box. List is prepared. It is a generalized for this list, right? From the list box model. Set bounds, add action listener. Listener is list selection items. Selection listener, right? Bound this one. Add list to the frames, right? Set visible, fine. Now, what is the abstract method of list selection listener is value changed, right? So value change, so it's maybe a single value or it's maybe a multiple value, depend on our requirement, right? So list dot get selected value list, this one, and over here we can just pop up that value list. Okay, we try this example. Demo list. Again we use JApplet. Initially with only public void init method for the one type is executed for the first time only. Okay, now default list, first we create the default list model, this one, and we need to display the screen. Default list model. Okay, right. List model is prepared. Now we add the object, add elements, C++, Java, PHP. Now we create the JList. Again, it is a kind of the string list. L JList. This is a default taken string. New object is missing. Okay, now from where we can pass this default list model. List is prepared. Okay, we set the layout, flow layout, so it is easy for us. New flow layout. We can take the any one layout, and it is a part of JApplet, not part of the our list box. And now we add this list box dot add. Right. So it's visible. Yes, fine. It is visible. Okay. Suppose you also take the one button, JButton, equal to new JButton. Right. Suppose we need to add the new items in the list box. Right. We need to perform for the button. It is what implements action listener. We need to perform the action performed method. Right. And what is our target? To take the one input from the user and add in the list box. Right. This is our target. So how we can read? So the option pane will also take the inputs. Right. Not only just show the message, also it is a show input dialog. Right. Instead of the message box. And what is our target? The current window. Right. New item name. String is returned. Okay, we need to add in the this list box, right? So first we need to define the reference outside JList string directly add, right? Dot add, right? Okay, we can add in the default list, then we are going forward. We can also change the reference equal to null by default, right? We can remove over here declaration DLN, we directly add in the DLN. Add element, right? Okay, now we execute. Oh, we missing to click on the button is not added and also not bind the listener. B dot add action listener, right? And this add our button in B in the our applet. So now button is over there, pop-up is there. Suppose .NET is there, like ASQL, SQL is there. And now we need missing, right? What is the upon selection? So for the selection is which one? Another, right? What is our instructor name? It is a list selection listener. List selection listener. List selection listener. Right? Again, we need to implement the abstract methods. Implement, it is a what method is the value changed. So when your value changed over the selection, right? We just give the pop-up. So again, if e dot same method get value is adjusting, right? Whether or not this is a one in the series of multiple events. It's maybe multiple item is also selected, right? It is a depend on our selection. So what it is a our list first get selected value list. We need to first try that particular list, right? And for that purpose, we set this reference outside the account. Right? So it is possible to access from over here. Otherwise, it is also possible to e.get source and like that, right? Get source, this one, right? Suppose this is object, generalized object. We don't know anything about that. Actually, we know that it is a list object because when we is bounded with the list, right? But we can just string it, show message dialog. Right? These are learning how our object is behaving. We just show the it is not bounded. We need to bound with our list l dot add list selection listener. Right? It is what current object. This one. Current object of that one is displayed to us. Right? Now we need to just instead of that we already but declared reference is already available to us, this one, right? If this method is declared in the another class like in a previous example, in that case we can retrieve that particular object, cast that object. But if reference is directly available, then it is a good option, right? So get selected indexes or directly items. We need to save, right? And it is what? String array. L is what? It is declared as is a list object. Okay, we need to declare as a reference as a list. It is a library method. List. List temp equal to, this is a kind of the string. It is not in. What is mistake? First again check it. What is it? List string and jar.string listing. You can directly change it to controllers. Dot to directly we cannot in the string. If you require, then we can save it. Like Java, PHP, Java and PHP both are selected using the shift or using the control, right? C++, right? We stop the lecture over here. In the next lecture, we can continue with the further content. We can practice on these examples, right? We can share these videos and lectures, right? And if you have any doubts, then just message me or mail with your example. If you have any error in your example, then you can mail us with your code Java file, so we can check it and then reply you. Okay, we stop over here.